Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. Today, I am once again joined with the boys, Nick and Vince, to discuss this new crazy ban list. I know we have a lot of opinions on this, and we've talked a little bit of what we like holding out on our conversations that we want to have about it. So yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it. Please feel free to say hi, guys.
Hello. Hi, guys. That's good.
Funny guy, funny guy. All right. Starting off, I think this is like the least one to talk about probably is a GKbec in my eyes of being banned, right?
Well deserved.
Least.
Needed it.
What am I gonna do with my new Lightsworn cards?
No, just play Lightsworn. Imagine just having to play Lightsworn cards.
But those cards stink.
We can't mill our whole deck now. That's crazy. We can't go straight 40 deep.
Yeah, I think this is obvious. These are like the only unfair cards in my eyes, like for the meta. I think that these were the only like unfair cards that really needed to go.
Yeah, just remember the feeling of like, yeah, I think I can win as long as he doesn't. There it is. Like, just held back.
It was so nice to hit it, and then but then when I played against it, it was like the worst feeling ever. I was like, oh my!
The game
gosh.
just goes out of your control. I lost
Yeah,
the original match to that. I was like, I got this, and then I didn't
Bang.
have it anymore.
A Guido, the bang.
Like on my
Okay.
opening turn, it was one of those.
Yeah,
I was
Oh,
like having this mill three,
Oh.
third mill was like Hellbeck or something, spirals. I'm like, all right,
yep,
that's good.
yep, that's
It was,
fair.
it was something like that. So that's gone.
The only other thing I was complaining about this format was Shifter wanting banned. Everything else I think was fine. That was the only other card that was like really major. Obviously that didn't get banned, but that's
They like that card
Flu
for some
buff.
reason.
Flu buff.
I'm just
yeah, I don't know why.
kind of confused.
All right, this is probably my favorite ban, Mathmech Circular.
I know everyone made the joke already, but I want to make it again. Joshua Schmidt, because he won the last YCS, had one say in one card he wanted to get rid of, and he just was like, "Mathmat Circular has to go because he hates that. I hated that card." And then that's it.
This was a fine ban. It made a lot of sense. I actually think this is fine.
I can't tell. I can't tell if you're just joking or if you're being genuine right now.
I mean, you know, the card was causing a lot of problems. So
Okay.
I get why.
You said it so seriously too.
I tried. I was like, how do I continue it though? Like, I just can't continue this lie.
I like made a joke on like one of our group chats, and I pretty much said like I just picture Konami like looking through all of the decks that have topped the past like 4 YCSs, and then like zooming down a scope and like slowly picking off the ones that they want to hit on the list, and then like they just turn around and they just see Mathmech Circular like riding a bike by itself, and then just like fucking dome it for no reason. It's like I can't have this around either.
That thing too.
Lastly,
Kind of random. It was very confusing though. I in all seriousness,
I would love to talk to Konami. I talk to a Konami person about this one.
Like, what's going on here? You know?
It makes me think there's like broken cyber support coming out, and like Circular just cannot exist alongside.
But
of
like,
it.
how? Like, in what set? You know, there isn't there that like TCG exclusive? There's like a new round. There's supposed to be a new round coming out.
Oh, there is, right? And
Yeah, so maybe.
Phantom Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they're all
this
pyros.
will
They're
age
pyros.
like milk in the
Oh,
fridge, you know.
oh yeah, they're already
So it's not
Pyros,
gonna
right?
work.
It's already confirmed.
Yeah, so it already aged like garbage take on my part right there. So I was like, that's it. No, it's not. Nick.
Yeah, I don't
This
know.
is a bad ban.
I would love to talk about it, but I mean, I just feel bad for all the Mathmech and Cybers players.
That's all right. I feel worse for the people who are looking at the next card.
Yeah,
I
is
don't.
what do you mean? I'm one of them. What the fuck?
I feel really bad for you, Jared. I'm sorry for your
What?
loss.
Ooh, Vince
I
started
hate
robot.
playing.
What'd you say? Vince?
Hard.
Well-
Where does
Vince, your connection just like crapped out.
It's because he was about to give a bad take.
Yeah, he was in.
oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, needed it. All right, hold on.
It definitely. All right, as someone who's playing Infernoble, I do think that this deck needed to get hit to an extent. I don't
think
know
this
if it
needed
was.
to get hit,
I
though.
don't know if it was Isolde. I think Isolde might have been a little much. I was a fan of like Museum to 1. I think that was like a reasonable balanced hit.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can't watch your stream more, Jared.
Okay, well, you should know the list anyway. No big deal.
Just follow along. I think that with this ban now, the play lines are way more narrow. And they're really like you can definitely get choked.
Yeah, you're choked on Angelica.
Yeah, that's it. That's like your only route. This is like if they like I don't know, I'm trying to think of like another deck where this is the case. Sorry, say take my personal deck Dragoonity, right? It'd be like if they hit either Ramios or Gate, or they hit Ramios right here. Be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like we can't do anything now. You stop us once, we're done.
They
We
one
can't like pivot into another card.
Like one imperm just locks it.
Yeah, like if you would get your Angelica imperms or whatever when she triggers the banish, you're done. You can't be like, all right, well then make Isolde, then go this way. Like nope. So I think the deck gets significantly like lowered by this, more than a Museum to One would. So I agree. Like
it is level 5 Synchro Turbo now, which I don't know.
Hey.
The deck will still fundamentally work, and the end boards are still going to be crazy. I want to preface that. When it goes. So if the format evolves into like a board-breaking format because of how this ban list is, I'll just say that. And like there's less hand traps, the deck might be fine. But if there's hand traps in the format, I think it's going to be pretty weak in that regard. All right, to 1. This is a lot.
Fast stack.
All right, we're gonna have like a little machine gun round because I don't want this to go way too long because I could say a lot about a lot of these cards. Unchained Soul of Shavara. I think this was the best hit.
That definitely hit Unchained really hard. It's hard to do their combos with just one of them. It also just like dodged like Valorn and Perm constantly. It's like now that's gone to 1. Like you don't have to feel as bad when you go like tour guide, butt clench.
I was kind of like think.
I think you're lagging.
Yep, it's lagging again. Nice.
You could still do. You could. It's being weird. Hear me fine?
Yeah, go shoot.
So. Guy.
Nope, died again. Vince died again. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Lightning round, Vince.
Lightning round, Vince.
That's good. This will be a memorable one.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back and like remember when Vince was getting 150 megabytes of internet.
Okay, but I guess, do you think that this is a fair hit, or do you think it's too much? Do you think they should have done something else?
Oh, it's like.
Oh no, he's talking about escape.
He's talking about the Unchained deck because I know he's been trying it, and I want to know what he's saying. But I can't understand him. Dude, dying right now.
It's like I feel like I'm trying to understand through like the Rosetta Stone what he's fucking saying.
It's so funny because I'm gonna have him look back at this because he's been having trouble, and I want him to understand where we're coming from when we say we can't understand him. Like this is exactly what we can't understand.
He's like the Flash in that movie clip where he like talks to Batman, except worse.
Okay. All right. So the deck still fundamentally works. I want to say that it is just more susceptible to things. I think that's the goal of this list for a lot of things.
Yeah, I was gonna say the direction they're taking with a lot of these.
So and that includes the Infernoble hit for the Isolde, even the tier cards. That like there's no sack factor. That's going to be a reoccurring theme I think for the whole list. Is X deck still works, but Y hit makes it more susceptible to like counterplay.
Fair.
I think this applies with Shavara. You can still do like a lot of the combos with one Shavara. It's just less consistent, but the D2D cards help. This also applies to the next card, Airlifter being at 1. I would have personally preferred Emergency at 1 because it would have fundamentally worked almost the same way as Shavara with playing around Imperm Veiler. But
Okay.
it's still like good enough. Like it's still fine.
I actually think out of all the ones we've seen so far and gone over, Airlifter is probably the least significant one. But
Yeah, like the deck's still going to fundamentally work, but it was the 1-card combo. Like
yeah,
by
it
itself,
is a 1-card. Yeah,
like Hydrant is not a 1-card combo, which a lot of common misconception is that Hydrant's a 1-card combo. It is
correct.
not. Airlifter was the 1-card combo.
Airlifter and what do you call it? Wanted.
Yeah, those are the 1-cards. So this is a significant hit for that. So again, it does hit the consistency, but is the deck's still again very very fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Vince is back. He stopped lagging out. I heard that very clear.
Did you hear me? I asked if you hear me when I jumped in, and like no one responded, so I was like, I'll just let them continue their point.
You are like, yeah, you kept when you were explaining the Unchained, you like were full robot.
You're like, beep.
Yeah, you're like, it was
Escape.
There was believe me, watch back and just you'll see what I mean of like when I say we can't understand you sometimes.
All right, then we got me say the Unchained thing again or no?
You can give it a shot, but if you start again, if you start lagging again, I'm just gonna continue.
So tour guide is Caesar and 1 Unchained with escape, but you don't have Shavara in hand to like dodge like anything. And
That's
you can't
still
like summon.
fine.
You can't summon your and you can't summon your. You don't have like on command summon Rage from Grave. That's like I guess the nerf to the combo.
Okay, I can understand that. That's still really strong though.
Very,
it's still like a strong board.
You're very dependent on your opponent doing something to use escape to like trigger everything you need now. So it is more fragile. You still dodge evenly.
Yeah, you still dodge it.
But it's like not in like the best way.
Yeah.
As it once was.
That's fine.
You can't keep your Caesar now.
But it still works. Like the deck still works.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is the main thing. So now we're gonna go into a not significant change. Dragon Ruler. Nick, it's back.
Wow.
It's Redox, bro.
Bad Monster Reborn. Whoa. I can't wait to play this with my Max C.
Anyone who is buying these cards for any amount of money is crazy. I'm sorry.
They don't do anything. They literally don't do anything. There's no, you can't convince me that they do anything.
These cards
level 7
are just power crept. They're just power crept. That's all it is. They are just after over what? How long has it been since Power Dragon Wars were relevant? It's literally been 10 years, right? They're just not. They can't keep up. It's just too long.
The nostalgia factor can only carry you so long.
Yeah, you're going from like almost like maybe like IOC to Dragon Rulers when they came out. Now you're at like Dragon Rulers to now. Like, it's just not possible. Like, it's just the power creeps too much. That's it. Like they're splashable most like some cards from that time, but that's it. Orcust Harp Horror. This is a fan favorite. I know none of us play Orcust as far as I remember. None of us were Orcust players.
I never played it. No.
Which is funny. But I know this is a card that was I would say the last non-toxic card of 2018 format, I think it was, or 2019, whatever format it was.
Yeah, it was one of those years.
It's the last non-toxic card because it was the last card I wanted to see come back because I think it's fine back.
Do you think it'll do anything?
No.
We didn't have we haven't had. I'm always saying maybe because we haven't had Gearsu plus Harp Horror ever. True. Which I think could be substantial.
We'll see what happens.
Again, we're still at like 5 years of power creep. So,
true.
A lot of the like, and you're locked into darks, but we do have like IP now. We have SP. Like there is options to go into where you could have like maybe like an IP with like a ding or a Galatea with the trap set and like the field spell up. Maybe there's something there. Deck has a lot of moving parts.
That sounds okay. I just don't know if that's good enough. You know?
Yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna be. I mean, we've all looked at the whole fan list. I actually think the game is going to be more back and forth now than it's been in a long time.
Hopefully.
That's as of now, unless there's some
Unless
breakthrough,
Space Marine-
disgusting deck that comes out of this, which I actually do not see happening currently, at least. I think it's going to be a very back and forth type of meta, at least in my eyes. I'm going to do the next 3 together.
That makes sense.
Goes in Rivalry and
They're all the
GKbec.
same card.
They're yep. This is all just different seasonings on the same steak. How are we? Were we pro or against these floodgates?
Fuck them.
against them, but now it just feels super bad if one gets flipped against you now.
But now someone's just gonna run one of each, and then that's gonna be their play set of slimy floodgates. And they're gonna have skills rating too, I guess. But
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have like a new respect for like these types of cards. I think maybe because I haven't lost to them in a really long time, or I haven't played a deck to lose to them in a very long time. I don't know. These haven't bothered me, to be honest. These aren't floodgates that have bothered me in at least the past like
all right, I
4
will
years.
agree with you. I feel like not a lot of people have actually been playing these cards. It's a weird decision in like similar to circular, where it's like, okay, why these though?
I mean, yeah, especially now, like with a very wide format like this, I just don't see this being like relevant right now.
It
Like,
feels a little weird. You're like, how's this gonna catch an entire meta? Like
'Cause
you put in Rivalry in, like, is that gonna catch every deck?
yeah, because these are cards that people complain about when the meta is more defined to like a select few decks, and then like one of these cards is good against like maybe like 2 out of the 3, and then you could just like, okay, that was just like main deck worthy, and like every time you play against one of the 2 out of the 3 meta decks, like you have like this insane blowout that's in your main deck, and that was like worth it for some formats, but we're not in that like scenario right now. Like this was like pretty decent in like 2019 format against like Thunder and Salad, and like stuff like that. Like I'm talking about GKbec specifically, and
Maybe just they're future proofing it.
that's
Future-proofing it.
I have a like theory that this is almost like a community ban list in a way, where this is just like a compilation of things that Konami has noted that people complain about a lot, and are just
Maybe.
like, okay, let's just chop some of this stuff off to like for like a PR move maybe. It's like the only thing I can really think of. I think that's
you know
also
what would
like
help them with that.
these are also here, the Agudo and the Kelbeck, because that's all. And the Isolde, because I really don't think Isolde needed to get banned personally, but that's just me. So
They need to talk about it for once.
they've done it before, but they got so much
I know.
heat for it
Like,
that they never did
that was
it
like
again.
because that ban list was a disaster. Like last year's ban list, they actually did talk about it. The one from December, and it was
Mhm.
like the worst ban list in the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
that was pretty dumb for them to talk there, or just make that ban list. To be honest, like that was the real dumb part. Not
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
I think it should.
it's like-
If they do talk about it, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if they do
Yeah.
talk about it, shouldn't be like card for card. It shouldn't be like, oh, we picked this card for X reason. We picked this card for X reason, because most of the cards they pick are like consistency hits, or like, oh, this card's seeing way too much play, or et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, they could
But,
even
like,
say that. Like, that's fine
You
if
can
they say that.
Yeah, I
That's
want to hear
fine,
that.
but,
I want
like,
to know why.
but like I think there's like almost like a theme to like the what they hit. Like
Oh, sure,
all right,
you could have a
we're
category
trying to do by limiting like these cards. Like especially there's a lot of like random stuff like this one. There's a lot of like
Right,
seems like a lot of
these
just
could all
random
be in a
hits.
category. Yeah, like
Yeah.
those in Rivalry, there can be only one. It could be
Yeah,
like
but
a category, like
the-
hitting floodgates, and like they talk about it right there.
But I feel like they wouldn't say like they probably wouldn't coin the term floodgate. They would probably say something more along the lines of like cards that cause restrictive play or like lack of gameplay or something along those lines.
Because they don't like to use the player terms, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean, though.
Damn,
Like
damn,
so, like
someone
Magic does this all the
crazy.
time. Whenever they have ban lists,
yeah.
they
Hearthstone too.
explain-
Whenever they nerf stuff,
That-
it's the same thing.
Yes,
they go over all
Hearthstone,
the
same
cards.
thing. Yeah,
And
I really like that.
Yeah, I agree. I like communication. I like knowing like the logic of like the goal of what Konami's trying to do in the game, and little notes like that would really help.
Jared wants to know why his best girl Isolde was just shot.
My 2 best
We'd
girls.
like to know.
My 2 best
Sorry,
girls.
my two. That's true.
All right. Sun Avalon, Dryas, and Healer. I'll put these 2 together as well.
That was that's a European complaint.
That's a Max Ward complaint. I'm calling you out, Max.
No, that's the European people complaining in Europe about Sun Avalon, so they're like, oh,
I'm
we'll throw them
so
both.
surprised that it was these two specifically. I don't know how like much like plant stuff you guys are in tuned with.
I have no
I'm
clue.
like,
No, it makes sense. It makes sense actually, because like you go through 2 of them.
you can't like you can't go like there's definitely no turn 2 anymore. Like turn 2, like you're cooked after turn 1 if the board's broken.
Oh yeah.
But
But even the turn 1 combo lines were like involved like a second Dryas and stuff like that.
I'm worried because of the new plant support in next set. And I'm pretty sure the deck still works like perfectly fine with the new stuff. And it's because of Jasmine. And I thought Jasmine would be the one
yes.
that would have to get hit.
Mhm.
And it wasn't. That's why
Dryas and Jasmine to 1 I think would have been better, personally.
Because I see a lot of
Sometimes
lines with
they
2
always get
Jasmine.
better.
Or at least like, I mean, I was kind of on like almost on Jasmine ban like type shit. But I mean, that's just me.
What's
It's another card, another link to that summons from the deck.
It's a link to that summons and searches from the deck. That card is it's as old.
Yeah.
It's as old
And
for
it's-
plants.
Yeah, but it's even better than Azul. The effect to search is a soft once per turn
Yeah.
on it.
Just like
So-
Isolde had like a bad period of like where it's like, well, the warrior monsters are bad, so like Isolde's bad. We've had like Jasmine for so long, and the plant monsters were bad. Now we're getting
Now
like
they're not.
really
Yeah.
good plant monsters coming up, and I think Jasmine's gonna be the new card to complain about when it's like, damn, like why is my opponent like searching and won't fire blossing out of the deck like constantly? It feels like impossible because it's generic. Or like in plants,
So
like generic plant.
So this just eliminates the sun. It doesn't eliminate it, but this just like weakens the Sun Avalon aspect of the deck.
Yeah.
But there's still like Rika, and there's still the aroma stuff that's coming out.
Mhm.
So I don't think Plant's dead at all. Plant has become like Dragon Link. So like
I was just like Pendulum.
it's like Striker to 1, or like Pendulum. Yeah, but Pendulum sucks.
Well, Pendulum does suck, but I'm just saying because it's like all the plant decks just seem to like just play all the plant archetypes in one pile.
Yes,
And
yes,
it's
it is like that. It's just like like we're not even like an archetype. We're just like a type. Plant pile.
plant pile the time. Okay. This is probably one of the more spicier ones. Is Ib, the World Chalice? I've seen this card pop off on TCG player pricing, hype behind it. I want to know your guys' take on this before I say mine.
Nick,
I
you go.
discussed this one with Vince. It's poop.
It's
It's poop. It doesn't do anything. It does a lot, but like it just roll like it's like a hamster wheel.
So
It
here's
just
the
you're rolling in the same spot.
the problem with this card is the same problem with like Danglong.
Mhm.
Like they're both really powerful cards, but they require you to run. And this is like the problem, say with like Dragoonity, for example. I've made this comment before, like Dragoonity, like or some older archetype that hasn't gotten new stuff. Like you get a couple new cards and you're working with like still like 60% old stuff.
Mhm.
It just doesn't have it gets power crept we were talking about with the Dragon
Mhm.
Wars.
Yeah.
So Ib and Danglong work off of cards, and they're very similar cards. They work off of cards that are just bad. Like they're not that good. Like the World Chalice cards aren't that good, and the Yang Zing cards are really bad. We know that. That's how I feel with her. Like if you want to run her, you then have to start running like, okay, I'm gonna run like World Legacy Guard Dragon. Oh, if I do that, then like I'm gonna go into World Chalice Guard Dragon. Oh, then I need to run like a normal dragon monster. You're running normal dragon monsters in 2023. Stop.
I mean, I saw people are playing DracoNet again in like their lists.
Running DracoNet. Stop. Stop.
He's like, put it away. Put it away.
DracoNet is 1 effect. Fenrir is a free summon with 3 effects on him. This is what I'm talking about. Like we're playing with like a stick. Like we're playing like stickball out in the street, and we're like, "Wow, wasn't it so cool when we were 8 years old and we could play stickball out in the street?" And then fucking Aaron Judge or something from the New York Yankees comes up, and he's got a metal bat, and he's like, "Yeah, this is how it's done normally now, kids." And he cracks your head off your fucking body and sends it 500 yards into the fucking distance. And you're like, "Man, why did I think stickball was so fun?" Anyway. That's my opinion on it.
Oh my god. I am almost in agreement, like pretty close to that. But my main issue comes along with the second part of that argument of I think Ib is less have to play bad cards. I think you have to. There's like, the cards you play with Ib are better than the Denglong ones.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
But
they are better.
I think the level 5 synchro potential is worse. Does that make sense?
What do you mean worse?
If the best way to get to a 5 synchro is Draconet, I'm not playing this shit.
Right. Yeah, or like Avaraptor, Carboneton.
Yeah. Like, but if there's a better like power crept way to get into a 5 synchro, which the best one I can think of is Super Heavy. That's the best like 5 synchro line that I can think of off the top of my head.
It's a one card line. Doesn't use a normal summon.
Yeah, that's like the best level 5 synchro line there is. I refuse to change my mind on that because it's just so obvious with no normal summon. Like pretty damn close to Ash Proof, and you get so far before your opponent can even interact, and you get pen scales. Like there's so much going for that line.
You can chain block the Ib. Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's crazy. I think that's the closest we're gonna get to Ib, but at the same time, you have to think of Ib in comparison to the other level 5 synchros as well, which is right now Ib, Denglong, and Angelica now.
Angelica. Exactly.
And if you go Angelica, I don't know if how people know this. If you just resolve Angelica by itself, with something to target it, it should still be like either Gear Free Charles or Double Charles, or no, not Double Charles. It should be Gear Free Charles, something along those lines. I think it's Gear Free Charles.
Yeah, I think it's at least that, right?
It should be minimum Gear Free Charles if I remember correctly, which is still like 2 negates by itself. I forget if you can get. I don't think you can get the Angel Ring anymore, but. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I don't think you can get the Angel Ring anymore.
It's still a good combo line.
The point is, Angelica's ridiculous. That card is just nuts. I think in comparison to Ib, Angelica is just a straight up better card. So yeah, that's just my. I don't think Ib's going to affect the meta.
Argument here on that. Yeah. I would like to be proven wrong. By the way, I hope somebody's like, you know what, Nick, you stupid idiot with that terrible analogy. I'm going to show you just how good this card is.
And that was why I said in the beginning too, like, I don't think there's any big blow-away decks right now in the format, unless I'm proven wrong, which I am. Which if I am, I don't care. But I don't see any, like I said, we were talking about Harp Horror. I don't see a deck right now that's like obviously going to be insane. That like, or a new combo that's insane yet. Like nothing has been ridiculous.
Yeah, it is day one, but yeah, I agree.
So hopefully someone proves us wrong, but I just don't see it yet. Okay, the other spicy one, Snatch Deal. Where we how we feeling about this one?
Vince, go
This
ahead.
one's unfortunately, I feel like, past its prime. Currently, with I feel like
Useless, like borderline useless, like change a heart card.
Yeah, it's like with the Zold band, it's fine now. Like if the Zold was still around and they unbanned Snatch, I'd be like, okay, it's searchable Snatch Deal, but it's not.
Yeah.
So it's just like another mind control, change of heart.
An armory for Snatch Steal?
I have my hair armor for anything.
What the hell? Hey, how you feeling about Snatch Deal, Nick?
I pretty close to what Vince just said. Like it's a like slightly different change of heart. It's like it's probably worse than change of heart. You can't thrust for it. You can like MST it. You can brand it beast. Like like you can use some sort of like pop effect. I like how I mentioned brand it beast. Like people are playing that, but you know what I mean. Like
Runic Destruction.
Some sort of interaction. Perfect. Can't Runic Destruction and change of heart. You know. Do it to a Snatch Steal.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. I think the fear that people have with Snatch Deal was 2015 when it came back the first time. But I think the main thing that people have to remember is in 2015, people were going double Dante Pass. And that was like the end board. That was like crazy, right? Like that wasn't like, bro, it was just Dante Wall.
Right.
So
like
the game is
the game has evolved.
The game is went on long enough where Snatch Deal was relevant. Which again, the game might still be long enough now with this boy. I know I literally just said I think games are gonna be back and forth. So maybe the game's back and forth enough where Snatch Deal could be relevant still. But I don't think it'll be as strong as it was then. Because back then you could like that was also when Dark Wall just came out and you could Snatch Deal with Dark Wall and that was like big. Like Snatch Deal, Dark Wall, Raigeki, like that's like very, very like annoying stuff. But now I think there's so much interaction and so like being able to afford a slot for something like this, I think, is very unoptimal, if that makes sense. Unless you're playing a specifically going second strategy, which might be more popular now. We'll have to see. Semi-limited. This is going to be pretty quick. Sleepy Memory, the only Pearly hit.
Fine.
Uh,
Makes it so you can't guarantee it off
yeah.
my friend. And now it's going to be 2 Sleepy, 1 Delicious off that.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna reveal off of it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
it's
Not
just low risk consistency. You don't get the crazy draw 6. You only get a crazy draw 4 now.
not guaranteeing sleep. That's like big, dude. Because if you can't guarantee Sleepy Memory, you can't guarantee Trap. And if you can't guarantee Trap, you can't guarantee Noir.
Yeah, so I would say yes, but if we remember before Sleepy was like the line, Delicious was the line. That's why I got put to 1. So
Yes.
Delicious into Plump can get you to Noir.
But it was fun. But it was funny because when people were doing the Delicious line, they weren't ending on Noir. They were ending on Plump plus Beauty.
That's true. A lot of times, yeah.
That was the line back then, and then it switched when Sleepy Memory came out with Baby Noir.
Yes. Yeah, it did. I think it definitely switched when that came out, and then also Delicious is put to 1. So but I just think now you have either one.
Yes.
You can get to Noir probably either way.
Mhm.
It's just,
Again, it's not dead.
Yeah.
It still works. It's just worse. It's just a little worse.
that's fine. Fine with a little worse on Pearly.
Pank? 2 Pank?
Sure.
Seems fine. All right. I don't think
Shamara's
we have
not
any,
hit.
I don't think we have any complaints here, right?
No.
Yeah, no
Two
problems.
Pank's fine. I think this makes going second strategies at a reasonable place now. You could probably again with how many going second cards are coming back. I think that this is another card that can go in that strategy. Terratop.
There's Goblininos.
That was the first thing I thought was goblins. I was like,
Goblin.
yo, we goblin, gabagool out here.
Yep, it's for Goblin Support.
I wish it was at 3. I wish it went to 3, just to,
It might.
have Terratop be at 3. But I'll take 2 for now.
Give one more list. Give one more list. It'll pop up back up to 3.
It might. I think if the Goblin deck suddenly is very good, then they'll go, oh.
I doubt it will be.
Definitely a little
I really doubt it will be. But that deck's cool, man. Every time I read those cards, I'm like, there's got to be something here.
Gotta be good, right?
Yeah, there's got to be. Speaking of which,
you read it, you're like, gotta be good.
they're like, speaking of which, besides Terratop, there's Goblin Support in this that came off the ban list over here on this. On the other
shut
limited section.
up.
We got it, baby. We got the Goblin Support.
I was trying to find it out there. I'm like, what?
There we go. We'll say that now. Let's talk about Upstart Goblin at 3. Our Goblin Support, baby. Let's go. We got 3 Upstart Goblin back.
All right. Before we get into the card, did we conclude whether or not that's actually Goblin Support? Can you actually search this card?
I
Yeah,
think I know. I think the one guy can. Do you want me to double check real quick? I can double check
It's
real
not-
fast.
Yeah, if it takes 2 seconds.
It'll take me 2 seconds. But how are we feeling about Upstart Goblin being back?
How do you
Look this
feel,
up.
Vince?
It does nothing because you only upstart into a draw and then you're just sad.
That's totally what someone said in the Dragoon Discord. They're like, yeah, give my opponent 1,000 life so I can get trolled. Sounds good. But I don't know that's always gonna happen,
Oh no, they
Fine,
add Goblin
yeah.
Rider Speller Traps.
Unbelievable.
I know, crazy. It's ridiculous.
Upstart Goblin Rider.
Unbelievable, he says.
Okay. I think it's so it helps Striker, like Striker's doing anything, but it's
Mhm.
cool that it's there for them. I don't know what else,
Upstart Goblin to me, and the next card as well. I'm gonna put the Pot of Desires with this because it kind of goes into my argument of where I'm gonna be going with this. Upstart Goblin being at 3, Pot of Desires being at 3, Pot of Prosperity being at 3. I think these 9 copies, but these 3 different cards that are probably going to be universally played in every deck, in some way, shape, or form. I'll put Pot of Extravagance in there too. Will make a card like Troll and Lockboard possibly popular in the main deck, which is my worry. Which is what my main worry is. Like,
you're right though.
Especially the Upstart Goblin. I already saw people. I'm late on this video because I was out Christmas shopping, but like people were already talking about like, yo, you can play 3 Upstart Goblin, 3 Desires in like certain decks, and I'm like, man, that like before I even get to Engine, my Droll is doing 6 cards worth of damage to you, and I didn't even like start yet. Like he didn't even go yet.
When you go Desires, draw 2 Upstart Goblins, your opponent goes on res, and your blood just bubble. Like, that's it. I'm never doing that again.
You turn into the 1,000-yard soldier stare.
Yeah, it's like it's over.
Just staring at your opponent. Don't do it.
So having said that, so now that we're like laughing it off, I did make this comment earlier when I was looking at this list. I think that like Upstart could have been at 3 a long time ago. That's something I want to say. Like it could have been at 3 a long time ago, and like people would have shrugged it and be like, all right, sure, whatever.
Yeah,
I like a lot of cards.
It's a card I'm surprised that Konami hit even in the first place. Realistically,
I don't remember when it got put to 1.
It was after FTK. I thought it was just after Dragon Wars. Once Hoban popularized it, and like every deck had Upstart Goblin. Like it was around like
was it that long ago?
I thought it was like right before like Monarchs.
Well, I thought there was that really consistent FTK that like you ran
Chicken
like
game?
that chicken game, and then you just
was it around
drew
that
your
time?
entire deck out. Yeah, and then you drew your whole deck out, and then you just
Maybe it was then.
No. Well, all right, but still, regardless, very like it's card I'm surprised was just off the list.
Now,
Like,
as a pot comments, like everyone talked about Prosperity to 1 or ban. That didn't happen. What do you think about that?
I was on that boat of banned. I still think that card is like crazy. I don't know how to describe it.
I think even more so why these cards are at 3 right here. It's like, okay, well, you have a choice. Like you can't really play both of them in the same deck. It's kind of hard, even though people have done it before. So I feel like people are just going to lean on Prosperity, and then these won't see as much play as the Prosperity will.
Yeah, because Prosperity is a card where in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh, where a lot of decks have specific hard counters, seeing the top 6 of looking for a hard counter is usually stronger than looking for even a +1 of 2 X cards rather than whatever it could be. Top 6 is stronger than +1, surprisingly, in Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays.
Agreed.
But I'm gonna take it back up to the first card, Inferno of the Archfiend being at 3 finally. Are we scared of Infernity yet?
nope.
Vince with a strong no. Nick, no.
I was I mean, it was scary when that deck first came out, and it ain't scary anymore.
You want to talk about like old deck? What year was that? Like 09, 2010?
Yeah, and we're still living in fear of that deck.
Yeah, like enough already. Like, this must be the oldest deck that's still like hit on the list, right? It's like got to be the oldest like.
Tier 0 deck, probably. This is probably the last Tier 0 deck that's still on there. That's like...
Just finally letting go.
There's one card left.
Was it Launcher?
Launcher,
Still?
yep. And that is still probably the best extender in like a deck.
What was that? It's like send it to summon 2 out of deck or something?
You revive 2. You revive 2.
Okay, revive 2. Yeah,
Unrestricted,
I mean,
not once per turn. And if you have an extra card in your hand, you can just pitch it out.
yes.
So it's a hand fix and a double reborn.
I just I look at this deck and I'm like, there's no way this could actually be good nowadays, right?
It's a deck I am always scared of. Once it's Lavavo Chain recurrence, that's when I was like, all right, this deck is like. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that that's a deck that came out in like a video game in like 2000. Like, oh my god, what year was that? Like 10 or something?
Yeah, somewhere back there.
Like that's crazy to think how ahead of a mechanic that deck was.
Yeah, so I guess it was kind of ahead for its time. So to slot it in like the 2010 year may not be quite accurate. You maybe at the slot in 2013 or 2014.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the first version. Like Trishula was around. That was like the one I remember. Was it you could like Trishula loop with it, and end on like triple barrier too.
Yeah, that's like you know what's crazy is like that sounds insane even for today. It's like whoa, triple barrier and Trish looping. Like we're done. I can't win now.
Yeah, just no deck playing. Like even today, there's no deck playing around that.
Even today, like you can't beat that. So it's like I feel horrible for the decks back then. They were like, I'll set my Raikou and like, and it's like, whoa. It's just like annihilate.
Like, oh my god, my X Saber deck got this TCG exclusive Ember's Blade. Oh, that's cool. Trish will you 3 times, set 3 Solemn Strikes and my Infernity Break. But how can I summon
what
my
Solemn
Troll?
Strike? I'm like, I don't know. You'll figure that out in 5 years. Or
Oh god.
What's an Omni? Yeah, we don't know either. You'll get to that when Savage comes out.
So I think as of now, Infernity's not to be worried about. I think Launcher's the card that's the card where like I'll start sweating about it. I'm gonna like glance at it because we got new Infernity cards. So I am gonna glance at the deck, but I'm not high hopes for it being like
Yeah, it feels like
relevant.
like Ib and stuff like that.
Yeah, and hand traps are a big part of that. Like the amount of hand trap releases from the last time this deck was relevant to now.
Yes,
plays
that
a
and
big
like
factor.
the fact that the deck kind of has a limiting factor in the fact like you kind of can't sit with hand traps in your hand with this deck.
Yeah, this would be a board breaker,
So you can't
like
play them.
play board breaker deck. Okay. Unicorn back to 3, like really quickly. Like we're just
Yeah, fine.
Kind of surprised, but
flip flop. I mean, yeah, I think this is where I wanted Kashtira from the beginning. This is where Kashtira should be. This is like the healthy place for it. Besides Shifter, fuck Shifter, but like
yeah,
this is where I wanted it. It's like nice and consistent enough. It's annoying like anti-meta type cards that banish things face down. But it's not like ripping your deck apart and macrocosmosing you all the goddamn time. Like it's a hindrance. People aren't going to build their decks around unicorns, so like you might be able to unicorn away like really important aspects of your opponent's extra deck.
And that's your like shtick with Cashier. Like that's your advantage. It's like you don't put out big negate boards. You don't like combo through a lot of things because like you kind of just have a couple like plays you can do. That's about it. But you have unicorn, you know.
Yeah, you have a really good follow up. Like all your follow ups like really strong. It's like just a really annoying deck. Like Shangri-Era's Birth, Unicorns, Fenrir is like really really good.
Those are all really good cards. They're very much
standalone strong cards. All
like
of them.
compare it to Ib or like even Ib is like a powerful card. But like these cards are like the modern versions of those powerful cards.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know?
they all have like
really
3 effects. They're all like good effects. All good. Like there's all generically good cards. Mind Control being at 3. This is at 1, right?
Yeah, it was that one.
And this is a card that every time it's come to 3, it goes back down to 1.
Ends up going back to 1. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious about this one, but I guess
Is
with
it gonna
the
stay this time?
I think it's only because of Change of Heart. I think that's the logic behind it. It hasn't seen a lot of play, so we're not like too worried about it. And at the same time, I'm worried about decks going first now, where you're not going to see like these like monster heavy end boards going first because you have to fear like Mind Control, Change of Heart, Snatch Steal now. Talon's Thrust as well. Like
Your opponent's like going second sideboard, just gonna be like 3 Mind Control, Change of Heart, 3 Econ, Snatch Steal.
Talon's Thrust. You're like, okay.
That could be a whole sideboard. That's like a 15 card sideboard.
It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. It's an actual insane amount of cards, like going second cards.
I think like they're kind of trying to put it in line of like Duster, Lightning Storm evenly. It's like we're gonna give you enough like thief effects as board breaking effects. Or something.
No, I think that's a fair assessment. I think Konami is tired. Honestly, I think this is Konami being tired of people complaining about the game being like lost dice roll, turn 1, lose, and that's it. And like, all right, game 2 I'm gonna win, game 3 he's gonna win, and like that's the end of the game. I think they're giving us as many going like strong going second cards as possible to where it's not like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In an attempt to try to make it where, because it all starts with the players, right? It all starts with the players who are playing the game, of course, and their opinions and how they tell their friends about the game. I mean, I know they look at social media stuff. I know people complain about this game a hell of a lot. So I think this is like a big merit of that they are listening to stuff that people say, and maybe they don't like the stuff that they're hearing and they want to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Because so far I've only seen good things about this ban list. I think this is another card that is apparent to that.
I agree with you.
Spellbook of Judgment finally at 3.
It does all that searching in the end phase.
It's bad, Jared.
I'm Spellbook of Judgment's a card. Let me say this. I'm only scared of this card because it says Summon Jowgen. Only reason I'm scared of this card.
Sure.
And it's one of the only times we're going first where your opponent can have Mind Control, Snatch Steal, whatever, Change of Heart, Fanger, Pankratops, and you summon a Jowgen, and it doesn't matter because they can't link it off unless they have a single tribute to clear it. That's why I think Judgment might have a place. I am very dead set on that. That if the meta goes one way, Spellbook of Judgment to summon Jowgen could be played in something for that reason. Whether it be a Runic variant activating 3 spell cards, you know, the one you special, search Fountain, activate Fountain, and then activate the second one to get your draws. That's already 3, and face summon Jowgen, and then you're already there. God forbid you have Runic Slumber, you can protect the Jowgen as well. So it's just annoying, to say the least. Especially if you clear the Hugin, you can summon Sleipnir before you summon the Jowgen, and then if they normal summon something and try to go battle phase, you already have Sleipnir there to protect it. Again, it's just it's annoying.
I'd like to see you make it work.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, yep, it'll be me. I'm just like saying an example. Like, it doesn't have to be Runic cards. I'm just saying that Jowgen could have, like, a card like Jowgen could have place depending on where this meta goes. That's pretty much what I'm saying. We already talked about Upstart Goblin and Desires. Sprite Starter going back to 3 very quickly.
It does nothing.
It's probably the most significant move up out of all the cards.
It's alright. It's alright.
It's their best card.
I am very surprised, I want to say this, that how Sprite as a deck, how not hit it is, and how quickly it felt power clept out of the game.
Yeah.
That deck, like, came out, was like a powerhouse alongside Tier, and then, like, Cash, was that what it was? It was Kashtira that, like, came out and just, like, dogged it like it was nothing.
Kashtira, Tier kind of, like, took over the meta over them here.
Yeah, like, we got Tier, we got Shizu Tier, and Cash came out. Like, and Shizu Tier and the Cash, I think, just, like, dogged that deck. And now that they're both kind of in check, like, I really don't see a world where Sprite shouldn't be in the meta. I think people, they might just, honestly, they might just be bored.
Gotta be.
Is there a boredom factor behind it where players just don't want to play? The play style of Sprite is boring?
It could be that. Because, like, they have Runic and Twin still, like, completely available. And what's the other archetype they played? The Fur Hire.
Nimble, Fur Hire. I mean, there's a lot of different variants
all
that you can play.
Is available. The only thing that's been hit really is what, Elf?
Elf's the main one. That was hit.
Yeah.
But the deck, definitely is still playable. Especially going second. The second build is going to be extremely popular. Like, ridiculously popular, I think this deck's going to be. So, I'm just saying, watch it. Don't get OTK'd randomly. That's going to be, I think it's going to be a popular strategy. So, I could see a resurgence in Sprite because people are looking at it again. But it's a deck I'm surprised fell off as hard as it did in the first place. That's everything on this ginormous list. Is there any takeaways you guys wanted to mention?
Oh, okay. So this is something that popped in my head a few times when we were talking. I held it back. You said that you think it's going to be like a slower format and like nothing like really escaped. Maybe like would you say that like?
I think there's still fast decks. Like I think Manadium obviously being like practically
so that's
untouched.
the one I wanted to mention.
Manadium being untouched is scary.
That and Lab, like both kind of went by.
Lab at the same time. I especially want to mention. Did you see? I think I linked it in one of our chats. Did you see Dinka's list from the YCS?
I know of it. It's like the very heavy furniture one.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
very like I'm playing on your turn 0 list. Like it's the like the blackjack, the 3 butler, normal traps up the wazoo to use on your opponent's turn. Really strong in my eyes. Like looking at that, like it's a deck I looked at as someone who's never played Lab before. I'm like, oh, that's like Ishizu levels of playing on your opponent's tier, like opponent's turn in tier.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous how much like you can play on your opponent's turn, but that with that deck list, that worries me.
Yeah, they're totally untouched. You think they're going to be even better in the meta then?
Yeah, I think Lab will definitely, because Lab is such a build differential deck. You can make it in so many ways with the furniture or with like more trap cards. And there's like, I think furniture is like objectively better, at least in my eyes, or like a hybrid. I would say like a hybrid version.
So that's maybe good news then, like for us, because that means that they could remedy it by hitting the deck at some point in the future.
Yeah,
Like they hit
definitely.
like the lab cards and then be like, oh, all right, that actually hurts.
I'm surprised it wasn't hit at all. I thought Big Welcome would be on here. I think that would be the card that like would be somewhat on here. Like either 1 to 2.
Yeah, please hit the deck already, Konami. I gotta say, I'm coming out of nowhere here, and I'm saying, please hit that deck. I'm tired of playing against Kyle Horn. I'm calling you out. I'm calling out Max Ward. Calling out Kyle Horn.
The whole locals.
Kevin
The whole
Greenbaum's
locals.
watching this. Tired of it.
The whole locals. Oh my god.
Just kill them. Just when they pay after
Just
like
kill
points with rollback, just kill them.
All right, I'm tired of him talking about transaction rollback. Please release the card already so he can play it and get over it. He talks to me about transaction rollback every tournament. It's like when transaction rollback comes out, oh, get ready. I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh my god.
Get eradicated for free.
I agree with you. I think Lab and Manadium are positioned extremely well in the sense that they weren't touched, where everything else was pretty much touched in some capacity. Mostly I would say the main hitters were touched. And so those two are positioned extremely well. I'm also worried because those two decks operate fundamentally very differently. Like different cards hit those decks.
So it's like, how are you going to approach beating them? It's like
it's like all of last format again, where I'm sitting there building a deck, and I'm like, oh, do I want Nib? And then you play against a Lab guy, you're like, these Nibs are terrible. And then you play against the Manadium guy or the Infernoble guy, you're like, where's my Nibs? Or where's my Drolls?
I'll run the Evenly or the Lightning Storm to beat the Lab guy, and then it's Manadium, and they put out like 19 negate board.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's just the worst feeling, and you just like want to cry, like because at the end of the day, you're deck building for one way, and then you play against a different deck, and you're like, is this even my fault? Like, did I get outplayed, or like the fact that I'm losing the game before the match even started is frustrating. That's my whole logic of these wide formats, personally, of why I don't like them. But regardless, I think that's scary that both of those two decks are going to be untouched. I think that's, for me at least, I really don't have much to add after this. I think it's still a open format. Fire King's really well positioned as well.
Yes, it's true.
That deck is... I will say it is better than I initially thought, even now. But I still don't think it's that good yet. But when Phantom Nightmare comes out, it'll be very strong.
I agree.
I think that's it. I don't really think I have anything else to say.
Vince, anything?
It was a very fun list.
Oh, that is something I wanted to mention. Vince, am I echoing on yours? Is that you echoing?
I don't know.
No.
Who am I echoing off of? I don't know.
Maybe me.
But I did want to say I've noticed this list is getting a lot of positive feedback online. And I think a reason for that is because I've always said this, that I think when things are taken away from decks and from formats, you are limiting the creativity and hurting the deck building and the effort that a lot of players put into those decks. And it makes them obviously upset. And, they want to be able to play the cards that they have. And I think that the lists that bring other stuff up to the power level of those decks already is a more healthy and viable way for future ban lists can operate, where players feel better about it. Does that make sense? Like rather than nerfing stuff that's like too good, bring the other stuff up to the level of that if it's not like insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've noticed in across like multiple medias, I would say, like video games, and other card games, that when stuff is nerfed, it is very frustrating to a lot of players. But when they buff stuff rather than nerf stuff to bring it up to the same power level of the thing that's good, it is usually receptive in a much brighter light than like something just getting nerfed to the ground.
That is a common thing. Like in Hearthstone, there's like buffs nowadays instead of just nerfs. And in World of Warcraft too, very often the solution will be like, instead of nerfing the best class, we'll just buff the rest of them.
I just think the fondest memories of stuff is things when everything's good. Like everything is good to an extent. That's when I enjoyed, I would say, most things. Card games a little bit differently because of deck building and stuff like that. But like I would say, like video games wise, when everything's good, I enjoy it more usually. My specific example I think of in my head that comes to mind, which some people I'm sure watching will understand, is specifically Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I know Vince knows. Like
Such a good game.
And the reason why I think that game is like considered one of the best is because every gun in that multiplayer was good. There was not a single gun you picked up and felt bad.
I mean, every gun was broken, like actually broken.
Exactly. Yeah, good. Like they're all good. Like you pick up any gun and you're like, this is solid. Like this is like really like insane. Like every gun's just like insane. And I think that's just a way healthier way to approach some formats. I would say, like obviously a Shizu tier, you can't bring everything up to a Shizu tier level, but for a format like this, I think this is a better way of doing it. Like things like giving us back Hardcore to mess around with, giving us back Snatch Geo, Ib to mess around with, stuff like that. Like I really enjoy that. Pancratops, Terratop, all that stuff. Even Unicorn already back to 3, Arching to 3, Judgment to 3. Like there's so much stuff to mess around with. I think players are more positively receptive to that.
Yeah, let me sink my teeth into it. I agree.
Yeah, like you want a meaty list so you can like deck build and theory craft what can potentially happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it may or may not be like the best thing ever, it still gets the gears going.
Yeah, it gets players excited. You get excited to try stuff. I think that's the biggest thing. Everyone wants to be the first person to, do
Figure
whatever,
something out.
to be the one to figure it out. So I think that's like a big thing. That was the last thing I wanted to say that I can remember at least. So yeah, I have nothing else. If you guys have anything,
Were you gonna say something about like Hoban or something before the beginning?
I just said that like I thought Upstart was hit because of like Hoban's like philosophy on Upstart Goblin being 30, like the 37 card deck logic, right?
Yeah.
And like I thought Konami would just like, it was like on Konami's side it was kind of just like, oopsie, gaining life points doesn't matter in this game. 37 card, no good. But maybe with like, again, where I mentioned Droll Operate again, that might not be relevant anymore because Droll is just can be so prevalent. But again, I don't know.
True. It's a different time.
It's not as free as it used to be.
Rolling, yeah, you went crazy back then. Now they are.
It's amazing what pre-Star Strike Blast was like.
God, a different life.
But yeah, I think that's it. I have nothing else to add. If you guys do.
No, that's it. That's it for me.
That's it.
Okay. Well, out of 10, how do you rate this list?
I give it a 7 or an 8.
7 or 8. 7 or 8. Yeah. Yeah, I will give this list a solid. It only missed like one thing I wanted, to be honest. This is like a solid 9 to me. Like, this is like a 9 to me. Honestly, like I don't know what else I could have asked for other than Shifter. Like, and that's it.
Prosperity.
Prosperity is more of a 1. I don't think it's a need. I think Shifter's a need to me. Like Shifter prevents gameplay, like at all. Prosperity is like you
don't
can
hit Infernal as hard.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously that's like preference stuff. I'm thinking like game healthy wise.
Okay, like did they check the box of like general like deal with this deck, maybe it's like, yes,
Make
they
fun.
did.
Make game fun. Is game more fun?
Yeah, they check the box. They definitely check the box.
So this is a 9 to me personally. Even though I wish this old wasn't banned, but you know.
I wish they did more lists like this, but like, this is just far and few between when they actually do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see it every time.
We won't see it. The Nexus will not be like this.
Yeah.
The next list will be like
Minimal.
4 cards, and that'll be it.
Yeah, it'll be minimal again.
It'll be a little minimal list right before Nationals, because that's how they do it.
Yep. As always. But if that's it, I'll wrap up. Thank you guys again for joining me in these wonderful conversations that I love having.
Good day.
Pleasure.
And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you think in the comments about this ban list, because there is so much to talk about here, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it. So until then, see you later, guys. I'll see you in the next video.